See, there's a pallet there, sunken. It's about 4 foot against that, so too deep, and obviously got someone really close that way. Lily bed from Howe. Another lily bed from Howe. And they've all got nice clear pegs. Those next three to my right is where I wanted to draw today. I've got me 10.5 metre margin pole, 20 to 22 slick, and I've got my MTX4 up for fishing long. And there's an odd fish moving. Apparently the ends are absolutely black. There's a few fish in front of us, but nothing like what there was when I arrived. They've all buggered off. There's a lot of people on the skyline, including me, which isn't ideal. So I'm going to come back down the slope. And the other thing, I've got my shorts and flip-flops on, and I've got the old Factor 30 on. And low set-up. I've got a little island there. So I'm going to chuck, there as well, with a pellet wagger and feeder. I'm going to start on meat short here, top kit on one, and then I'm going to, around this area, I'm going to mug and slap and try and catch what I can. I might not feed anything out there, but that margin there is a last resort margin really, because I've got so many options. I've got a margin there, and about there I've got 2 foot, and there it's 3.5. I'm going to start in 3.5 and then come into 2 foot when they're a bit funny, but really you want to get into sort of 15 inches or less, but I can't because there's reeds and everything in the way. It's an absolute beautiful looking peg, but also an absolute snack bit of a peg, and I will lose some fish. I pulled out 3 rigs out of these lilies when I got here. We're going to give it a go. We're going to catch some fish. I've got Chris Barley up there. I fancy him winning the section. He's absolutely plays into his hands there. He'll have a great day there. But there's fish everywhere. Apparently the ends are absolutely alive with fish down the margins and everything already. So it looks nice. But it's going to be a peg that's not for the faint-hearted. 8mm pellets for fishing to the island there. Got some micros. A couple of lots of micros. I've got 7mm and 8mm meat and corn. Because it's such a deep margin, I need heavy particle baits really. I've got some dead maggots, which I may or may not feed, and some ground bait. I've got a bit more ground bait behind. I mixed up loads before I came. Then I drew a peg like this, which was probably one of about 2 or 3 pegs you don't need much ground bait, which is a shame. That's Sonar Baits, krill and method mix. £60 net limit today, so I'm going to put 4 nets in at the start. You're going to want £200 to win this leg, because we're fishing 12 till 5. It might be moody, there are fish mooching around. So it's just whether I can get them out. So I've got loads of stuff there. Two margin pole rigs identical, which are, let's have a look at one of them. That's 20 to 22 slick. And I've just got a nip line float. And actually the line comes out the top of the bristle, so if it does go for the lilies, it'll pull cleanly out. That's 20 to 22 slick. 023 direct. And I've got a size 12, if you can see that, size 12 MTX4 there. It's an eyed hook, got a tight spade end, which is mega for snag fishing. I've got a pull on a peg like this, and there's no point fannying around. But meat short, pellets and stuff slapping along. Corn and meat down the edge. And a feeder there. Hopefully I can narrow it down. It'd be nice if I don't have to go over there at all. I just concentrate on short and shallow and edge. But we'll have to see how they're playing. Perfect timing for calling all in. All out. Stay out them lilies now. It's common.
That didn't take long.
No.
Yours mugged?
Yeah, and he's already in the lilies. Look at them lilies going. Fish lost number 1. I actually thought I'd got him. Joke. Can't believe that. He's still on. You didn't see that one. I had to cut him out with my weed cutter. Might be putting 18 to 20 on. Unbelievable that. I cannot believe I got him out.
No, it didn't look good, did it?
You would have swore blind it stuck fast. Not done me peg any good, has it? Oh, bugger. He had a go at it as well. Chance. It's not as big as I thought. Very long fish. 8 pound. Spawned out. Not coming off. got enough water. This is number 5. I think we're all in about the same number at the moment. Just come a bit shallower and caught one. It's just really hard to work out. Oh, what depth. Bugger. Just pulled out. I've got 4, but it's gone rubbish now. There's another one. Three dead rabbits. These feeding casters. Tempted to start throwing a few casters off the end. Might be a bream. Oh my God, yeah. Got a small carp, I think. They've stopped coming down the channel, haven't they?
Yeah.
They're all around there now.
Are they?
Yeah.
Probably that's the ending we're going to bite on.
skimmer. I'd let it out, wouldn't it? Everyone's gone quiet. Everyone has. That'll be on. I've got to absolutely chuck as tight as possible to get a bite. It literally will not go round unless I'm in inches of water over there. Yeah. Ah, dear. Pulling too hard. Broke me. Broke me. That's the problem, casting in all that rubbish. Oh, come on. Duck's there now. This seems a waste of time out there. See when we get something going on, a bit of meat. And he's off. Never. Scale on him. We've got an hour and 3/4 to go. It's going to be marginal o'clock soon. I Take your time now, Jimmy boy. No one's catching. If I can catch up on this tip, I'll be laughing. The guy in front of me there that you can see is winning this section. I think the guy next door's got 100. I would have said. There's definitely signs of fish coming in there now. Just not catching them at the moment. Can't catch on the feeder. Nothing short on the meat line. Guy to my left's fishing long down his edge. It's the only peg you can fish long. Whoa, that one bumped against the line and bow waved away. Well, other than the guy to my left who's got loads of room, no one else is catching down the edge. My margin, I've had a 1 carp, 1 F1, there's just nothing showing. Just missed a bite on the meat short line. How long we got? 20 minutes. This line's been rubbish. I'm sure of it. Can't get it. Get it. Ah. Snag me. Next. Did all the hard work. I won't come into shallow water, so I'm catching in 3 foot. Lily beds. "13 minutes left. this one count. Do this. Yes, that's a small one.
Probably half a lily bed in there and all. Playing them all day. It's close, isn't it? 106. Closer than I
Yep,
thought.
106.
Bit closer than I thought. I thought you battered me.
What you got, Barley?
He'll have that as well.
Yeah,
He's admitted to
I
110.
think he's got more than
I
that.
think he's got more. Gutted.
Yeah.
The lilies have cost me, haven't they? Could not get in fast enough at the end. Well, it's a couple of days later, and time to reflect on a pretty hectic match. Beautiful looking peg, two massive lily beds, two sunken platforms either side as well, and an island to chuck to. And on a red hot day, there's going to be fish around the lily bed and stuff like that, but yeah, a bit of a taxing peg as well, especially when you've got big angry carp that are supercharged. They're like solar panels at this time of year, so they pull a bit, and I was always going to lose one or two. I challenge anyone to get 100% of their fish out of a peg like that. Hello, cat. You right? You get crashing my film again. So, but anyway, I've had 106 pounds, which I'm quite happy with. And the end peg to my left, he's had, that's Ollie, he's had, Ollie Sleeth, he's had 114 pounds. So I'm a bit gutted in a way, because I thought he'd got 120 plus. And I'm only £8 off him. And then the guy to my right, who I assumed had won the session because he's caught really, really well, that was Warren Jennings, another good angler, very good angler, and he's had £104, so I've done him by £2. So a lot closer than I thought. Really nice tight, us three all in a row. Chris Barley, I really fancied to do well. He's had £62, and I think Dave Pritchard's had £40 or something to his right. So there's three of us with £100. It's basically gone first, second, third, fourth, fifth in our 5 pegs. So I think Ollie's done really well where he was. He's been perfect for mugging where he is because it narrows up, so they have to funnel in, and the fish. Hello. It narrows up, and so the fish have to funnel in on his pole line. So very, very well muggable, and he's also got a nice long margin. There's not many long margins at Larford because you can't go past the next pallet, but there's not a pallet between 21 and what would be peg 20. That's the other thing. It used to be permanent pegs. We used to be in what was called the 40s, but since the floods, they just paper peg it now, and it will be re-platformed at some point, but the levels are so high and the fish are just and the water's just not quite right, so I think it'll be completely re-platformed this time next year. But obviously it's a big undertaking. They've had some serious flooding and both lakes need a lot of platform work, which is a big undertaking, I suppose. So but yeah, so anyway, so Ollie's had on 21 he's had 114, I've had 106, and Warren's had 104. So really tight. I could have won the session looking at that. I mean, that fish, that big common that's just done me on the lilies, that was at least £10. I'd say close to £12 by the looks of it. It's a big common, and it's just got round the lilies, and then it's just come off as I've tried to pull. There is a cat here, honest. Look, there he is. Yeah, you'll soon bugger off, won't you, with me doing that? So where was I? What was I going to say? Yeah, so a bit of scrappy match. I've tried to do everything. I've mugged that carp early. I've had to cut him out, and luckily that outside I've had to leave a tethered carp in those lilies. So I'm glad I did that. I had to really plunge deep with a 4-metre land net and a little blade on the end and just cut the stems, and somehow it came free. God knows how I managed to get it out. And then I've mugged 3 or 4 more, but it was hard work. They just weren't having it. Everywhere it's really hard for mugging now. And then I've had 1 on meat short, 1 carp and 1 F1 on meat short. Nothing after that. That was just a couple of missed bites. That was it. I'm sure there would have been little F1s. No one's really caught on a short pole very well, talking to everyone afterwards. And then I've tried to fish shallow for a little bit properly with casters. I've also tried loose feeding meat. I've had 1 carp there, but it was never right. They weren't coming in. You know if it's right because you start to get a few swirls and a few bits of interest, but nothing was interested. Nothing even was coming in around the perimeter of the feed. It was just very strange. So I've chucked that feed. I should have chucked it earlier. I should have fed it earlier. And I've had a nice little run on that, 5 or 6 fish, but you had to touch the mud. You really had to get within like that far of the far bank, as it wouldn't go around. If you was that far away, you didn't get a bite, or you got a skimmer. So chucking tight, there was a lot of horrible sticks, so you get a big splash as one was on, and then you see a stick coming up in the air, and so it's a bit of a mare as well. I've had a couple come off because I've had to pull to make sure they didn't go in the lilies. So I've had to really pull. I've not been able to play fish as nicely as I like to. I'm quite good at playing fish with quite soft hands, and I can tell when they're going to pull, and I let them go. But you can't on a peg like that. You've got to hold and get them, show them who's boss. So I've inevitably pulled out of a few fish on everything. And then right at the end, I've caught on my margin pole 10.5 meters. I used to have an 8.5 meter torque margin pole, and I got a 10.5 meter instead. And I'm glad I did, because it was exactly 10.5 meters to the next pallet, and it was about 3.5 foot against the pallet leg, and then up the bank I got 2 foot. Now I had a couple of swells there, but nothing. I think I might have had 1 fish there, and that was an F1. Just didn't seem right, so I came back into the deeper water. With an 8mm cuban meat on a size 12 MTX4 hook, 023 direct, 20 to 22 slick, no nonsense gear. And I got 4 or 5 great big carp there. And I think, literally, I missed a wobble literally 10 seconds before the all out as well. So I'd have had another one, and that might have been the section winning fish. But yeah, that was really hectic at the end. And I should have clocked it and gone into that deeper water. Or stayed in the deeper water for longer rather than trying to get them into that shallower water. It just wasn't right. They were happy in that deep water, and the bites were unmissable really, and with really tow ropey gear. So yeah, an interesting match. I've had to do a bit of everything, and what would I have done differently? Definitely I'd have fed that feeder sooner. I should have gone on it after dead on an hour after all the mugging. Oh, and I've slapped a few by the pads as well, actually. I've just slapped, and I've had 4 F1s and a big carp slapping a leg against those pads. Actually, I hope to get a few more than that, but even feeding a little bait down the left and right pads, I've caught 4 or 5 fish, which have been good. They've been useful, but I hope there was a few more fish sunbathing under there, and that was it. So yeah. So what would I have done different? Rather than fish a top kit and one with the meat, I definitely should have gone 6-7 meters throwing meat, and I think I might have got an odd one coming into the slick, and I might have caught an odd and shallow over it and around the area, and I think I'd have just caught more fish out past those lilies. That's one thing I definitely should have done, and then I should have gone down the edge and stuck to my guns in 3.5 foot water. I think it's strange. The only thing I could mug the fish on was an 8mm pellet. I've tried 6s. I've tried bunches of maggots. I've tried all sorts. I've tried fining down and everything, and all I caught on was an 8mm pellet just plopped in. Whereas Ollie, I spoke to him afterwards, he's caught on a red 6mm pellet. So but yeah, so and so but anyway, interesting match. Hopefully it's been a nice exciting match for us to watch as well. Certainly plenty of things to try and do, and certainly plenty of action. So from me and the cat, bye bye.